Good morning, everyone. My name is Nikhil Goel. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at Archer Aviation. I'm here today to talk to you about electric air taxis. In fact, this electric air taxi and how we'll use it to help move India. But before I do, I'd like to start by talking about cities. Today, half of the world's population lives in cities. By 2050, 2/3 of the world's population will live in cities. That's 6 billion people living in just 40 megacities across the planet. And while cities are getting more populated, our transportation options are degrading. They're getting more slow, more congested, more expensive, and more damaging to our environment. That burden is particularly profound right here in India, where transportation traffic costs more than 1.47 lakh crore rupees per year. That's over $20 billion annually. But it doesn't have to be this way. When I was at Uber over 10 years ago, we asked ourselves a very simple question. Why have cities, decades ago, started to alleviate residential and commercial congestion on the ground by going to 3 dimensions, but why have we not done the same with transportation and the way we move in and around cities? So we started this exploration with helicopters. We thought to ourselves, why not use helicopters for Mumbai to Pune, a trip that takes hours, to be able to do that in just 30 minutes? Why not use helicopters to be able to Uber in the largest cities in the world like London, Tokyo, Paris, and New York? And we actually did this in dozens of cities, and of course, everyone loved it, except for the cities themselves. There were major issues when we launched Uber Helicopter. The first was noise. Because of the physics of a helicopter, the rotor on top has to turn so fast that every single time it turns, it creates a sonic boom. And that noise is incredibly disruptive to communities. As such, nearly every city in the world outside of New York and Sao Paulo have banned helicopters. And not only that, but inside of that rotor, there are over 300 what are called single fault parts, meaning if any one of those critical fault parts breaks during flight, the flight would be catastrophic. And in order to maintain those parts and keep them safe, for every 1 hour you fly, you have to do 5 hours of maintenance. And that's tremendously expensive, making the cost to fly a helicopter exorbitant for just about any consumer all over the world. At Archer, we're building Midnight to solve all of those problems. Midnight is an all-electric VTOL, a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft that leverages a technology invented by NASA nearly half a century ago, distributed electric propulsion. Distributed electric propulsion takes what in a helicopter is a large hydrocarbon-powered rotor and turns it into over a dozen propellers powered by electricity. This aircraft behind me that we're building is 100 times quieter than a helicopter when in cruise, and because it has a dozen propellers and a wing, it's fully redundant. It has no single fault parts that I spoke about earlier. Our goal is to produce this aircraft to operate as safe as a commercial airliner from day one. And not only that, it's entirely powered by lithium-ion batteries, which makes it have 0 operating emissions and environmentally sustainable for the world. Our aircraft Midnight can carry 5 passengers, so 1 pilot plus 4 passengers. It'll fly at a speed of about 240 kilometers per hour with a range of about 150 kilometers. That makes trips just like this possible. Many of you here today drove an hour, maybe from Gurgaon, 2 hours, maybe from Noida. With Midnight, you could fly from Gurgaon to here in downtown Delhi in just 7 to 10 minutes. That will change the way every one of us gets to work, goes to see friends, and goes to visit family. And that's our goal. That's what we're building here in India, together with our partner Interglobe. Behind me is a video of our flight. This is back from June, earlier this year. We completed what's called a transition flight. That means we took off just like a helicopter. The propellers at the front of the airplane tilted forward, and then we flew on the wing just like an airplane. This is one of the first times in history that an airplane program has been able to complete such a flight, And we've completed hundreds of these flights over the course of the year as we progress with our technology and progress with our certification pathway with the FAA. We're also manufacturing these planes. At our San Jose headquarters, we're making 6 what are called conforming test aircraft. That means we'll use those aircraft to complete the certification process with the FAA. And then we're building one of the largest aviation facilities in the world in Covington, Georgia. We're doing that with our partner Stellantis. Stellantis is one of the largest automakers in the world. They own brands like Jeep, Ram, Maserati, and a number of others. And together, we're building this factory, which will produce up to 650 aircraft per year. There's virtually no other manufacturing facilities on Earth that are going to be able to produce aircraft at that velocity. And that's because we know that the world needs our aircraft, and we're excited to help start building those at large scale. We listed on the New York Stock Exchange in 2021, and over the lifetime of the company, we've raised nearly $1.5 billion from some of the world's best financial partners, Moelis & Company, Exor, Stellantis, United, BlackRock, and a number of others, and we're proud to be with those investors who really see the opportunity in this space. In the United States, we're targeting the markets of New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Miami. We pick those markets based off of data that we have internally here at Archer, and we're able to go analyze the most painful routes all across the world where consumers spend millions of hours stuck in traffic. The way we'll launch is by largely leveraging existing aviation infrastructure. Los Angeles, for example, has over 75 helipads all across the city, but virtually none of those helipads are in use today because of the noise that helicopters create when you take off and land. And so we're going to start by activating aviation assets across those cities and doing so with our partners globally, where we have a nearly $6 billion order book from customers all over the world. One of those is United. United Airlines back in 2021 not only invested in Archer, but they placed an order for up to $1.5 billion worth of our Midnight aircraft. And together, we're starting to work at airports such as New York, Houston, Chicago, San Francisco, and others. Since then, United has not only put down pre-delivery payments against those aircraft, they've also invested again into the company multiple times, as recently as last month. We've also partnered with Southwest, one of the leading low-cost carriers in the world. Southwest is California's largest airline, not just in passenger volume, but also in flight volume. And in California, we're envisioning taking trips like Santa Monica to Napa, which today would take you nearly 5 hours. You would have to take a car to LAX airport, take a flight to SFO airport, and then take another 2-hour drive to Napa. With Archer, you'll simply take Midnight to Burbank, you'll take a flight to Oakland or SFO, and then you'll take another Archer on the other end directly to Napa. And with that, we can condense nearly any door-to-door trip in California to under 3 hours. And we've already been hard at work over the last year to go build that vision. But outside of the United States is perhaps where we see the greatest demand. We plan to launch in the UAE across Abu Dhabi and Dubai next year. Earlier this year, we signed a framework agreement with ADIO, the Abu Dhabi Investment Office, with His Excellency Badr Al Alama. And what that enables us to do is invest hundreds of millions of dollars to accelerate our commercial deployment across the country as soon as next year. Our goal is to launch in Abu Dhabi and Dubai by December of next year, and we're well along the way, working hand in hand with partners such as Etihad Airways, Falcon Aviation, Air Chateau, and then our investors, Mubadala. And we've had so much support, not just in the Middle East, but all across Asia as we look at some of the world's most congested cities and where our Midnight electric air taxi can make some of the largest difference. And then, of course, here in India, we're incredibly proud to be partnering with Interglobe, with Mr. Rahul Bhatia and Mr. Aditya Pandey. We've been working with Interglobe for more than over the last year, and together we've started to analyze routes across some of India's largest cities, Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Chennai, Calcutta. And we just continue to see tremendous, not only potential, but support from everybody we meet, whether it's with municipal leaders, federal government, and regulators. Just yesterday, we spent time with a leader at the DGCA, and the amount of support and forward thinking that we continue to see here from the Indian government is just incredible. And I am confident that India will be not only one of, but perhaps the largest market for electric air taxis in the world. And we couldn't be more proud to be working with Interglobe, which of course with Indigo is one of the most revered airlines in the world. We envision being able to take Indigo passengers to and from airports and make trips such as Delhi, Noida, and Mumbai, Pune possible in just mere minutes with our Midnight aircraft. And with that, I'm very proud and grateful to be here in India today, where we at Archer, together with Interglobe, hope to not just weave into the tapestry of some of the world's largest cities right here in India, but also expand the horizon of what's possible here in this land of endless potential. Thank you, everyone, for hosting me today, and thank you for being here.